Hi all, welcome to video 26 of GenAI using Langchain and Databricks playlist. In this video, we are going to start with JSON output parsers in Langchain. Okay, and I have already explained you how to, when to use the output parsers and when not to use the output parsers, right? So basically, JSON output parser is basically used when we want the LLM output to be converted into JSON format, right? And then we can safely use it as a Python dictionary, right? Very simple. Whatever output whatever output LLM is giving, we are safely converting that output without affecting the content of the output. It is getting safely converted into JSON or Python dictionary, we can call it, right? Now, why we need basically JSON output parser, right? This example we have seen in last video also, right? LLMs generally responds like this, right? The sentiment is positive and confidence is some 92, right? Text output, right? But our application, the downstream applications generally need the structured output, right? So we convert it for the LLMs that do not support structured output. We use JSON output parser and get the output in this format, right? Now, basically, without the JSON output parser, we will need to extract the values manually, which is very hard and error prone also, right? Then output format can change. Whatever LLM is giving, that output can change. So our, let's say, if some Python code we are writing that might not work always, right? And our automation can break, right? So without a parser, these are the risks to our application, right? When we use JSON output parser, the format is consistent, right? It is especially machine readable and it is easy to use in the downstream code, right? As simple as that. Okay. Now, what JSON output parser is doing, it is basically, tells the LLM to return the JSON, right? And it basically, this JSON, we can use it as a Python dictionary also, right? So now simply we will see how to how to code using JSON output parser, right? We are going to use the same LLM, right? This LLM, which basically has supported the structured output, but for learning purpose, right, we are going to use the same free LLM, right? Just make sure you use this output parser only when your LLM is not supporting the structured output, right? Fine. I'll just explain the code. Installations are running. You have to first run the installations. Now, by now you are aware. We'll import chat Databricks, right? We will import prompt template from Langchain core.prompts, okay? And we will import JSON output parser from Langchain core.output parsers, right? Now, basically, I'll create the object for chat model to use, a variable for chat model to use, okay? Then I'll create the object for JSON output parser, right? Using this imported JSON output parser, okay? Now, basically this prompt template, I'll create the prompt template, okay? Here what you have to do, you have to give the template. I'm giving the, prompt like give me a description, let's say short or long, whatever is the description, right? Give me short or long description. I can pass it that when I'm invoking the LLM, right, of some topic in, let's say, exactly, I don't need to write this exactly 3 lines, but I have just written so that I do not spend much token of this free LLM, right? And use simple and clear language, right? And you have to pass the format instructions in the prompt itself, right? Now you have to declare partial variables, right? You have to declare format instructions. Whatever your output is, right, it should get formatted using JSON output parser, right? And these input variables, 2 variables you have to, whatever variables you are using, right? It is description type and topic name. Format instructions you are defining as part of partial variable, and whatever are the variables that you are passing while invoking the LLM, those you are going to pass in the input variables, because these you are inputting, right? And format instructions, these are partial variables which are needed, while declaring the prompt itself, right? Now I'll just I just give one chain, create one chain, First, I'll pass on prompt template, then I'll pass on chat model, and then I'll pass on JSON output parser, right? Basically, chain, I have already explained you in the short. The input of previous step becomes the basically output of previous step becomes the input of next step, right? Output of this one is passed to JSON output parser, and then it will give the response in JSON format, right? Now what I have done, I have invoked this chain. Description type I have given as short, topic name I have given as AI. So my prompt would be, give me a short description of AI in exactly 3 lines. Use simple and clear language. And I have passed in format instructions. My output should get formatted using JSON output parser, right? I want the output in JSON format, right? Now, if you see the output, it has given me the 3 lines about AI. As simple as that, right? So this is the simplest way. And any other output parser that you are going to use in future, same way, you just have to import that output parser. You just have to create the object of that parser, right? You have to declare a parcel variable. You have to specify format instructions, and that's all. This is the reason Langchain is getting hugely popular, because you don't need to do much changes in the code. Very small changes you do, and you will get the consistent output, right? Now in this here, if I need to use some pydantic, right? Let's say I want to um, get 2 3 things from this output, right? In this case, I'll use pydantic. Very simple. I'll just import pydantic output parser. I'll create the object of pydantic output parser. That's all, right? And we'll see that in upcoming videos. I'm just giving you a flavor. I'm just giving you a trailer, for example, how easy it is using Langchain, right? Fine. Now we will see few advantages of JSON output parser. It is easily structured output. You don't need to parse that output manually, right? It works with most of the LLMs. It is good for API automation, right? JSON is standard format everywhere, right? Very simple to use. We have seen in the code. It is faster than Pydantic because it is not doing any validation, right? No parsing also. It is not doing any validation, right? Now, see, there are a few issues with JSON output parser. Okay, JSON output parser, we cannot enforce the schema. We cannot validate the output, right? So whatever output LLM is giving, we are just using the same, right? Now, if I ask JSON to give me 5 facts about the topic, right? And I want the output as, let's say, fact 1, then description of that fact 2, description of fact 2. This way, I am not going to get that using JSON output parser, right? So there is law of JSON output parser. It says JSON output parser cannot enforce the schema. And same thing we have learned when we were using with structured output function, right? For the LLMs which were supporting structured output, right? Simple. Disadvantages, it is not doing any validation, no type enforcement, right? We have less control wherever there are schema based methods. We have less control over there. No field level validation. It is doing like Pydantic, simple, right? Same whatever we have seen in with structured output function, same is applicable for output parser also, right? When to use, when not to use. We will use JSON output parser when we are needing JSON output, right? When we are building API or some database pipelines, when structure is very simple, when we are not needing strict validation. In these cases, we will use JSON output parser, and we will avoid simply when we need strict validation, right? And when our workflows, when our pipelines are production critical, right? In these cases, we will avoid JSON output parser and we will use Pydantic, because there we will be needing the validation, right? The schema enforcement, right? Fine. So this is all about JSON output parser. You can just look at this code right once, okay? And if you want to practice this, if you want to make it, on your fingertips while watching the video itself, you write this code, right? And then it will be very, you will be very confident when we will start working in GenAI or agentic AI world, right? Fine, that's all for this video. I wanted to cover JSON output parser, right from basic. I wanted to cover all advantages, disadvantages, when to use, when not to use. Yeah, right. Limitations of JSON output parser, and I think most of the things I have covered in this short video. Right. Fine, that's all for this one. We will continue with output parsers in the next video also, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.